The hermit's path. Every life follows a path. Most people move through their days without thinking much about the small habits that guide them, the words they speak, the choices they repeat, the routines that quietly shape who they become. The hermit's path is a place to slow down and look at those small things. In this series, we explore simple ideas and practical steps that can help bring a little more awareness and intention into everyday life. Nothing complicated, just thoughtful ways to live a little more deliberately, one small step at a time. The quiet that sets you free. The quiet doesn't ask anything from you. It doesn't demand your attention, your performance, or your answers. It simply waits. Most people never stay long enough to hear what it has to say. We've been taught to fill every space: a podcast while walking, music while cooking, a screen while resting. Even in moments meant for pause, we reach for something, anything, to keep from being alone with ourselves. Because when everything goes quiet, something else begins. You start to notice the weight you've been carrying, the thoughts you've been avoiding, the questions you've been outrunning. And at first, it doesn't feel peaceful. It feels exposed. That's where most people turn back. But if you stay just a little longer, something shifts. The noise inside you starts to settle. Not all at once, not cleanly, but gradually, like mud sinking in still water. And underneath it, there you are. Not the version shaped by expectations, not the one reacting to everything around you. Just you. Clearer, steadier, more honest than you've been in a long time. This is where solitude begins to change you. Not because it gives you something new, but because it takes things away. The need to impress, the habit of reacting, the pull of constant distraction. Without those, you start to see what actually matters. You begin to notice the difference between what you've been told to want and what you truly value. And that realization can be uncomfortable. You might see how much of your life has been shaped by other people's expectations. How many decisions were made just to avoid judgment or to feel accepted. But that discomfort isn't something to run from. It's a signal, a quiet course correction. Because once you see it, you can start choosing differently. This is where stillness becomes strength, not the kind that proves itself, the kind that holds itself steady. You don't react as quickly. You don't chase every feeling. You don't give your energy to everything that pulls at you. You begin to pause, and in that pause, there's power. You realize you don't have to act just because something stirred inside you. You can let it rise, feel it fully, and let it pass before deciding what comes next. That space between impulse and action. That's where your life starts to change. And in that same quiet, something else becomes clearer. The voice in your own head, not the loud, reactive one, not the anxious one that rushes to fill silence, but the deeper voice, the one that's been there all along. When you sit with it, you begin to notice how it speaks to you. Is it harsh? Is it doubtful? Is it guiding you or holding you back? Most people never stop long enough to ask, but here in solitude, you can. And when you do, you can begin to shape it, not by forcing it quiet, but by answering it with something steadier, something true. No, that's not who I am anymore. That thought doesn't help me. I can choose differently. And slowly your inner voice becomes less of a critic and more of a compass. That's when something else begins to return. Clarity, not the kind you chase, the kind that settles in when everything else quiets down. You start to see your life without the constant influence of everyone else's opinions. You begin to understand what actually matters to you, not what you've been told should matter. And with that clarity comes direction, not urgency, not pressure, just a quiet knowing. You may even notice how much of your life has been shaped by noise, the constant input, the endless comparison, the subtle pressure to keep up. And stepping away from that, even briefly, feels unfamiliar at first. But then it starts to feel like relief, like setting something down you didn't realize you were carrying. And in that space, your mind begins to open again. Ideas come easier. Your thoughts move slower but deeper. You feel more present, even in simple moments. This is where creativity lives, not in the rush, not in the noise, but in the quiet space where your mind has room to breathe. And alongside it, something even more important begins to grow. Peace. Not because everything in your life is perfect, but because you're no longer running from yourself. You're sitting with it, understanding it, letting it be what it is without needing to escape. That kind of peace doesn't depend on anything outside of you. It comes from knowing you can be with yourself fully without turning away. And over time, that changes how you move through the world. You become less reactive to opinions, less dependent on approval, less pulled by every distraction. You begin to choose your responses instead of being driven by them. And that's where something deeper takes root: wisdom. Not the kind that speaks loudly, the kind that listens, that observes, that waits before acting. You start asking better questions. Is this worth my energy? Am I acting from truth or from habit? What actually matters here? And you don't always need immediate answers. Sometimes just sitting with the question is enough. Because in that quiet, something inside you is already working it out. That's the part of solitude most people never reach. They turn away before the discomfort passes, before the clarity forms, before the stillness becomes something they can trust. But if you stay, if you make space for it, again and again, solitude stops feeling like something you have to endure. It becomes something you return to, a place where your thoughts settle, where your direction becomes clear, where your life starts to feel like your own again, not shaped by noise, not pulled by expectation, but grounded in something steady and real. And the next time you find yourself alone, don't rush to fill it. Just sit, breathe, and listen. Because what you've been searching for out there has been waiting for you in the quiet all along. Now take a few minutes for yourself. Find a place where you can sit without distraction. No phone, no noise, just you. Let your body settle. Let your breathing slow naturally. And begin with this simple question: what am I avoiding by staying distracted? Don't force an answer. Just notice what comes up. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back. Now ask yourself, what in my life feels out of alignment right now? Again, no judgment, just observation. Sit with whatever rises. Notice how it feels in your body. Notice where your mind wants to go. Then, one final question: what would it look like to face this honestly, without running from it? Take one slow breath in and let it go. You don't need to solve everything right now. Just being willing to sit with it, that's where it begins. Walking the hermit's path doesn't require dramatic change. Most of the time, it begins with something small: a new habit, a different way of thinking, or a simple choice made with a little more awareness. If something in this episode resonated with you, consider giving the video a like and sharing it with someone who might also appreciate the idea. And if you'd like to continue exploring simple ways to live more intentionally, be sure to subscribe and join me again along the hermit's path.